राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये शृण्वतं स्वकथः कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृद्यन्तस्तो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतम् नस्य प्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातुमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्. So we are in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 12. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Sudajjanasi bhadram te.
Sudajjanasi bhadram te.
Bhagavan Sattvatam Padi.
Bhagavan Sattvatam Padi.
Devakyam Vasudevasya.
Devakyam Vasudevasya.
Jato yasya chikirshaya.
Jato yasya chikirshaya.
Sudajjanasi bhadram te.
Sudajjanasi bhadram te.
Bhagavan Sattvatam Padi.
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya
Sudajanasi Bhadram Te
Suta Janasi Bhadram Te
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya
Prabhuji, want to read?
Suta janasi bhadram te
Sudajanasi Bhadram Te
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya.
Sutajanasi Bhadram Te
Sudajanasi Bhadram Te
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya. Mataji.
Sutajanasi Bhadram Te
Sudajanasi Bhadram Te
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya.
Sutajanasi Bhadram Te
Sudajanasi Bhadram Te
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Bhagavan Satvatam Pati
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Devakyam Vasudevasya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya
Jato Yasya Chikirshaya. Suta,
Suta
O Suta Goswami,
O Suta Goswami
Janasi,
Janasi
you know,
Bhadram
Te,
Bhadram Te
all blessings upon you,
all blessings upon you
Bhagavan,
Bhagavan
the personality of Godhead,
the personality of Godhead
Sattvatam,
Satvatam
of the pure devotee,
of the pure devotee
Pati,
Pati
the
the
protector,
protector
Devakyam,
Devakyam
in the womb of Devaki,
in the womb of Devaki
Vasudevasya,
Vasudevasya
by Vasudeva,
by Vasudeva
Jata,
Jata
born
Yasya
for the purpose of
for the purpose of
Chikirshaya,
Chikirshaya,
executing.
executing.
All blessings upon you, O Suta Goswami. You know for what purpose the personality of Godhead appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Bhagavan means the Almighty God, who is the controller of all opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge and renunciation. He is the protector of His pure devotee. Although God is equally disposed to everyone, He is especially inclined to His devotees. Sat means the absolute truth, and persons who are servitors of the absolute truth are called Sattvatas. And the personality of Godhead who protects such pure devotee is known as the protector of the Sattvatas. Bhadram Te, or all blessings upon you, indicates the sage's anxiety to know the absolute truth from the speaker. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared to Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. Vasudeva is the symbol of the transcendental position wherein the appearance of the Supreme Lord takes place. So, we will go back to the context in which this is all being spoken, because every time, we are continuing our Bhagavatam class from where we left, and then it refreshes our memory. So this is the first canto and first chapter, questions by the sages. And the first 3 verses in this first chapter is the Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. And the first verse was the definition of the absolute truth, which is the Sambandat Jnana. And the second verse was then the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, definition of the real religion, which is the Abhideya. And the third verse, Nigama Kalpatarur verse, is the fruit, the Prayojana. Invitation for all of us to relish the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam. So following that comes the enquiries by the sages who have assembled in the Naimisharanya forest. And the sages are asking the question number 1, which is what is the absolute and ultimate good for people in general? And the answer is bhakti, of course. And then there is a description of the age of Kali, which we discussed in the previous classes. And since there is the duration of life is very short and all the qualities of Kali Yuga, the request by the sages that what is the essence of all scriptures, because no one has got the time or patience to hear everything in detail. And again, essence of all scriptures is also bhakti. And then comes this third question, Sudha Janasi. The question is actually put rather in the form of a statement. You can see here, if you carefully study, there is my verse. A second. All blessings upon you, O Suta Goswami. You know for what purpose the personality of God had appeared. So the sages are very knowledgeable, and they are equally knowledgeable to Suta Goswami, and yet they are putting this question in the form of a statement rather than a question. And there's a reason for this. Because this has all to do with the message that is transmitted from the disciplic succession, from the guru to the disciple, and how much a person is able to assimilate and internalize that knowledge. So Suta Goswami is such a personality that he has completely digested and assimilated the knowledge coming from Shukadeva Goswami, and the sages are making this statement, O Suta Goswami, you already know. We know that you know. So you please give us what you know. And the purport of this particular verse, it is short, but you can see that because these are essence verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, so much commentaries has been written by our great the saintly acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada has in essence condensed volumes of this information in each one of those sentences. It's very much packed. And so extensive commentaries are there on these verses. So Sudha Janasi Bhadram Te. Bhadram Te is the beginning part of this verse. Bhadram Te meaning all blessings upon you. The sages who are the audience, they are showering their blessings upon the speaker, Suta Goswami. So audience is blessing the speaker. Now the audience are not average audiences, they are very well qualified devotees of the Lord. And they are showing, Prabhupada writes here, that they are showing great anxiety to know about the absolute truth from the speaker, Suta Goswami. So they want to express their eagerness to hear. And so this is one of the quality of the speaker and the hearer. The speaker is very knowledgeable, not intellectually, but because they have heard it submissively, they have internalized the message, and the speaker is able to deliver Krishna to the audience. And the audience is highly appreciative of the fact that the speaker can deliver Krishna, and so they are extremely eager to hear from Suta Goswami. And because they realized that Suta Goswami, it is not only that he has the knowledge, he has assimilated the knowledge, he has realized the knowledge. And they are recognizing that fact. And you can see in verses 6 and 7, the qualities of Suta Goswami, 6, 7 and 8, previous verses which we have studied, but once again for refreshing our memory. In text 6, the sages have said, O respected Suta Goswami, you are completely free from all vice. You are well versed in all scriptures, famous for religious life, and in the Puranas and the histories as well. For you have gone through them under proper guidance and have explained them. This is one of the qualities of Suta Goswami. And then they are saying here, Yani Veda Vidam Shreshto Bhagavan Badarayana Anyecha Munaya Suta Paravaru Vidho Vidhu. Being the eldest learned Vedantist, O Suta Goswami, you are acquainted with the knowledge of Vyasadeva, who is the incarnation of Godhead, and you also know other sages who are fully versed in all kinds of physical and metaphysical knowledge. Vetatvam saumya tat sarvam tatvatas anugrahat Bhruya snigdhasya shishyasya guravo guhyamapyuta. And because you are submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Saumya is the word that is used. Therefore, you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from them. So in these verses, the words that are particularly used is anagha. Anagha means one who is free of all the vices. Akhithani and akhyadhani. And that means he is well versed in scriptures. He is free from all vices and he is well versed in the scriptures, Puranas and histories. And he has also explained them. And Veda Vidam Shrestha. You are the eldest of the Vedantist. You have knowledge given by the Veda Vyasa and other sages. And it is also stated you are Saumya, gentle, pure and simple at heart. And Snigdhasya, submissive. And because you have all these qualities, your spiritual master has endowed you with special favor. And because Suta Goswami has that special favor from his spiritual master and the blessings from Krishna, which comes later in this verse, he is well qualified to be able to deliver Krishna to those sages who are also equally qualified. And look at the submissiveness with which they are approaching. Their eagerness, their submissiveness, and their acceptance and their glorification of the speaker. And so this Suta Goswami here is like a wish-fulfilling personality, like a Kamadhenu cow. He has the ability to deliver Krishna to all. And so the sages are expressing that eagerness because they also realize in their heart, if we submissively hear, we will receive Krishna from Suta Goswami. And so, in this verse, every word is so packed. Vasudevasya, the word Vasudevasya is used. So Prabhupada writes, Vasudeva is the symbol of the transcendental position wherein the appearance of the Supreme Lord takes place. The transcendental position wherein the appearance of the Supreme Lord takes place. So there is a difference between the two Vasudevas, Vasudeva and Vasudeva. Vasudeva, as we all know, is Krishna, and Vasudeva is the father. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ande Nanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamidhi Samahatma Sudurlabha. That Vasudeva is very nicely explained in the second chapter of this first canto. And many of you may be knowing this verse also. This is the two verses. Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakha, Vasudeva Para Yoga, Vasudeva Param Parakriya, Vasudeva Param Jnana, Vasudeva Param Tapa, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragati. So Vasudeva Paraveda means ultimate object of all the Vedas is understanding Vasudeva, Krishna. And Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa Sarvair Ahameva Vedyo Vedantakrit Vedakrit Evacham. So study of the Vedas is, the purpose is ultimately to know Krishna, even though people utilize the study of Vedas for various purposes according to their level of understanding or maturity. Paramakha is the purpose of sacrifices, is to please Krishna. So sacrifice, it means voluntarily accepting some difficulties for the sake of Krishna. Difficulties will come to us anyway, the Adibodhik, Adidevik, Adhyatmic difficulties are always there. But that does not purify our heart. But when you are voluntarily accepting sacrifice, that purifies the heart. And the purpose of such sacrifice is to please Krishna. And para yoga, the practice of yoga is to please Krishna. And parakriya, all these material fruitive activities in which we are engaged in, and any result that we get out of it also is because of Krishna. Even though somebody may think that maybe there is some other way through which we are getting those results, ultimately without the sanction of Krishna, even our material activities do not bring any fruitive results. Param Jnana means supreme knowledge. Sri Krishna is the supreme knowledge. Param Tapa is the austerities again are performed for pleasing Krishna. Paro Dharmo means the purpose of religion is to please Krishna. And Vasudeva Paragati, the supreme goal of life, is Krishna himself. So that is Vasudeva, Krishna. He is the source of everything, he is the cause of everything, and there is no one who is superior to him, and that is the position of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. So he appears as the son of Vasudeva, and Prabhupada writes in Srimad Bhagavatam that father is very special too. And Krishna chooses whose child he is going to be. And unless that person's heart is very, very clean and pure, and particularly here in Srila Prabhupada writes in Srimad Bhagavatam that first Krishna appeared in the heart of Vasudeva because his heart was very pure. And from there Krishna was transferred to the heart of Devaki because her heart was pure. And so Prabhupada writes, this is just like how during the time of initiation, from the spiritual preceptor, you receive that knowledge that is there in that Guru. He is able to give you that at the time of initiation. It's somewhat like that. Krishna's appearance in this material planet is like that. Krishna appeared in the heart of Vasudeva and transferred into the heart of Devaki. So, during the time of spiritual initiation, Diksha, Krishna, the knowledge about Krishna or the message about Krishna is also transmitted from the heart of the spiritual preceptor to that of the disciple. And then that leads us to the particular word in this verse, which is Bhagavan Sattva Dampati. And this is very, very special. Sat means eternal, and that which is absolute, which is relating to the spiritual position. And Prabhupada clearly says Sattvatas. Who are Sattvatas? Sattvatas are persons who are servitors of the absolute truth. So our acharyas are saying in here that in this particular verse there are two meanings for this word Sattvatas. One is particularly referring to Suta Goswami himself. He is a Sattvata. And the Lord who protects his devotees, Bhagavan Sattvadampadi, and as we all know, Bhagavan is full of 6 opulences. And in the case, our acharyas are explaining that this particular word Sattvada refers to Suta Goswami, his position as a preceptor, and such Sattvatas are protected by the Supreme Lord. Now, such Sattvatas can give Krishna. Now, someone like a personality of the caliber of Suta Goswami, what kind of protection do they require? Not really material protection. When we approach the Supreme Lord, we ask for, Lord, protect us from such and such calamities or whatever. We are always afraid of something could happen to us. But in the case of Suta Goswami, someone who has got absolutely no material attachment, there is no physical protection needed. So this is with regard to protection of the soul, and not protection of the dangers of this material world, because they have no such attachment. So a material example can be taken from the life of Socrates. The Socrates, the great Western philosopher, and he was actually he died of he was poisoned to death, the Greek philosopher. So he said, first you will have to catch me. There are many phrases that Socrates has used. First you have to catch me. He voluntarily he agreed to take poison and die. And the whole political situation relating to that. But he said, first you have to catch me. So that means he is referring to the soul. A similar example can be found in the life of Haridas Thakur, when he was the king's representative, Sant Kasi, when he said that you have to give up chanting this name of the holy name of Krishna, the Hindu god's name, you have to stop chanting that. And to that, Haridas Thakur replied that what can you do to me? You can cut my body into pieces, but I cannot stop chanting the name of Krishna. He was referring to the chanting for Haridas Thakur was coming from the platform of the soul. So he could, even if his body is cut into pieces, he cannot ever stop chanting. And so this is the position of Sattvatas, the people who have taken complete dependence on Krishna. So, so when a Sattvata desires to give Krishna, how does that really happen? On the receiving side, we also have to let go of our deep attachments to that which is material. Prabhupada gives an example of a child. A child is holding on to something which is very detrimental for him, a dangerous object in his hand. And you try to take it away from the child will scream bloody murder and he will not stop crying. And how do you make the child to give it away? By showing something which is a glittering object, and the child will receive that and let go of that which is not good for him. So this is applicable not only in the case of a child, it's also applicable for us, because grown-up adults, a spiritual preceptor will come and give the right knowledge to let go of our material attachment. But we, being too attached to all the worldly things, even though we know that this is not good for us, we are not willing to let go. So there is patience on the part of the person who is giving, and on the part of the receiver, there is this strong determination, the willingness to receive and let go of that which is, which is binding us to this material conception. Maharaj always talks about accepting the spiritual conception of life and letting go of the material conception. It's easily said than done, because even though we know it is beneficial for us, just like the child who is so adamantly not letting go of that which is detrimental, we are also having that same tendency. And unless we let go of those illusory things, we cannot take the shelter of Krishna. So for helping to come to that spiritual conception, that's what Suta Goswami, person of that caliber, is doing here, coming to the spiritual conception of life. And that is because he has received Krishna's blessings. And the way he has received it is because Snigdhasya and he was Saumya, all those special qualities that make him the proper recipient of Krishna's blessings. And because of those qualities only, not only the spiritual master, but also Krishna himself endowed him with that type of knowledge. And therefore he is able to deliver Krishna. And therefore the sages are so eager to hear from him. So this is the whole situation. So Sattva Dampati, this the word also means Krishna's special quality. Krishna is known to be Bhakta Vatsala. As we know, Bhakta Vatsala means one who is very, very, he is very dear to his devotees. He loves his devotees. That is Krishna's very special feature. And he reciprocates to the desire of his devotees. With the way you approach him, he reciprocates accordingly. And that is also indicated in this particular word, Sattva Dampati. And Krishna says, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, right? He says, I am equal to all, I am not partial to anybody. And yet, in Bhagavad Gita, when he says Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, yet Krishna has got that special reciprocation to his devotees. And that special reciprocation comes according to how we approach him. And it's a mutual thing. It is not like Krishna gives special favors to somebody. It all depends upon how we approach him. And this is really very, very special. You can see, like when Kamsa approached Krishna, what was Kamsa thinking? He wanted to kill Krishna. And naturally, Krishna reciprocated back to, his reciprocation was, yeah, I will kill you. When Krishna was fighting with the Chanura and Mushtika, and he could see from the corner of his eyes, Kamsa was sitting up on the top of the platform on his big simhasan, and Krishna was waiting to drag him down. Krishna had no anger towards Kamsa. Krishna knew that was Kamsa's attitude. And when Krishna showers his blessings upon his devotee, what does he do? He removes the Kamsa-like desires from the heart of his devotee. That is Krishna's very special mercy. So, and that is the mercy that is shown by any spiritual master. Particularly you can see in the case of Vyasadeva even. When Vyasadeva wrote all the Vedic scriptures, and when he was despondent, Narada Muni came and told him, you now simply glorify the Supreme Lord, and that's all what you needed to do. So the message is coming from the spiritual preceptor, but we have to be able to take that message. So the message comes, And we need to understand the value of the message and the willingness to take it. So there is this one little story where once one person went to his spiritual guide and asked, my dear spiritual master, please give me that which is most confidential and that which is most valuable. And the spiritual guide said, okay, you chant the holy name of the Lord, and he gave this chanting. And the person received it, he was very happy. He thought, I got this very special favor from my spiritual guide. So now I will seriously chant, and he was with focused attention, he was chanting and going. On the way, he came across a washerman who was singing the same mantra, and he was washing his clothes. And he thought, how did this man get it? You know, I got this special blessing from my spiritual guide. How did this person get it? And then he went further. He saw a group of children who were playing, and they were chanting the name of Krishna and playing. And he said, how did they get that? And then again he came across a fisherman, I guess, and he was also doing the same thing. And he thought, everybody seems to be knowing this mantra, I'm not the only one. And so he had this doubt in his heart. So he went back to the spiritual guide and asked, you said you gave me the most valuable and precious, most very special mantra, and everybody is chanting that, so what is the point? And so the spiritual guide told him, take this touchstone. This is a very valuable touchstone and very precious. So see if they are willing to pay the price to get this stone from you. So he took it to these people, and the washerman said, what stone is this? This is too small. I have no use for this. For washing my clothes, I need a bigger stone. And the same thing, the children said, what can I do with all this? This is not even like a ball to play with. And they had no interest. Same thing with the fisherman too. So he realized that unless you are willing to pay the price for this, even if somebody can give you the most valuable thing, you will not be willing to buy it, nor will you appreciate it. And the other thing is that you can get cheap things somewhere, like Chinatown or somewhere you go. You can get glass which looks like diamond, but it won't be the diamond. So now this laws of bhakti, I just wanted to finish by talking about that. There are many laws pertaining to bhakti principle. Bhakti, Krishna reciprocates to the devotee accordingly how we approach him. And there is this law of gravitation, there is the law of reciprocation, there is the law of subjugation, and there is the law of unification. So these are all laws of bhakti, and this is all there in our scriptures. The law of reciprocation is, ye yathamam prapadyante tam satiksha bhajamyanam, right? According to how one approaches him. So we don't need to look we don't even need to doubt that this reciprocation exists. There are so many examples, even recent times, there are many examples of devotees who have experienced this law of reciprocation. One such example was that of a story. This is not some story, this is real, that has happened. And this was of it was in Rajasthan. There was a person by name Panna Jada, and his wife's name was Rekha. And they had a child by name, what was his name? His name was Dhanna Jada. It was a very small child, 4 or 5 year old. At that time, the family guru, many people have their family gurus. He was visiting their house, and this guru was, he had a salagram shila. He was worshipping salagram very nicely, bathing and offering flowers and tulasi leaf and sandalwood paste, and very carefully worshipping the salagram. And this little 4-year-old boy was sitting, watching very carefully. And by the time he finished worshipping, he will approach him and say, now I will worship. He will say, now I will worship, just like you did. And this guru said, no, 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 you are only a small child. You cannot worship Thakurji, you know. The child will not let go. He said, I have to worship, I got to worship, I need to worship. And crying, started screaming and all that. And no matter what he said, he wouldn't stop. And so finally the guru said, I will get you a Thakurji. And so he walked out of the house and went on the street, and he picked up a black stone from the street, brought it and said, here is your Thakurji. And so he created like a makeshift altar, a little bit higher platform, and placed this Shila, this stone on top of, just a plain stone on top of there, and said, look, this is your Thakurji. And then he put his Salagram Shila at a lower place, little lower place, and he said, that one on the top, he is Raja Thakurji. And the one here, Salagram, he is Sipai, Constable Thakurji. And so, now which one you want, Raja or Sipai? Of course the child was intelligent, I want Raja. And so of course he got his stone, you know. So now he was so happy, he went running to his mom and said, Guruji had given me this Raja Thakurji, and so now I need to worship. And she was like, okay, you know, calm down, you know, you can worship. But he wouldn't let go of his mother. I need all the ingredients, I need everything to worship. And the mother said, you know, can you just calm down, like tomorrow early in the morning when I go to the market, I will get you everything you need. So the child went sleeping, and in his sleep he was crying, and he was like thinking it is already, in his dream he's like, it's already morning and mom did not go to the market, she did not get, and she was crying in his sleep and saying like, Mom, I need that, I mean, you did not go, and all these things. He was crying. And early in the morning again he woke up, again started pestering the mother, get me the ingredients, get me the ingredients. And so she said, why are you really bothering me? Do you know that if you have to really worship Thakurji, you cannot just ask me to go and get things. You have to collect it yourself. That is how you worship Krishna. You just don't go and ask somebody else to get it for you. So he thought about it a little bit and he said, okay, fine. So he went outside and he picked flowers, and he knew some leaves are needed. He did not know it was tulasi that you need. So he just picked all kinds of leaves. And then he remembered the Guruji needed water to bathe the salagram, so he collected water. And he said, he thought, okay, the Thakurji likes like colored, he has seen this colored sandalwood pulp that was applied. He did not know it was sandalwood, so he knew it was colored something. So he collected some bricks and he powdered it, made it into a paste. He came back inside, baked the Shila, offered flowers, offered all the leaves, and applied the red powder on top of salagram. And then he finished, and then he went back to his mom. And then he said, now I finished all the initial preliminary worship and I needed to offer something to eat. So there is a kind of a bread called bajra bread or something. It is made with the wheat flour and bajra, and some kind of a rough grains and some molasses, like some jaggery. So he collected it from mom and he went back to Thakurji, and he made an offering. He closed the curtains, he waited outside for some time, hoping that Krishna has eaten. After some time he opened the curtain and looked inside. Krishna has not eaten anything yet. So he was kind of getting very impatient. Again he closed the curtain, he waited outside. Again opened, looked in. No, Krishna did not eat. Now Krishna also has this tendency to test the patience of his devotee, or how intense is the desire. So he likes to play that game with his devotee, and that he was really making this dana to feel that intensity in his heart. And so finally, this little child, he lost it. So he just complained to Thakurji that you are not eating, so I'm sick and tired of this. And he closed the curtain and he said, if you are not eating, I'm also not eating. He started crying. And he lay down there on the floor with his back facing the altar. And he was crying and crying and crying, and he was lying there, not even looking back. And suddenly he could hear this munching sound because it's rough bread. So Krishna started eating. And he could hear the munching sound, and so he opened the curtain, went back in and looked. There was Thakurji really eating with a smile on his face, and he was chewing on this rough bread. And this child was so happy seeing Krishna. He had tears in his eyes. He loved looking at Krishna. Thakurji loved looking at this dana, and he was looking, both of them were looking at each other. Their heart was like breaking and tears were flowing down. And then suddenly Thakurji said, "Oh Dana, this bread is really very tasty. It's very tasty what you have given." And so so there was this intimate feeling of love expression going on between this child and Thakurji. It became so intense, and they were looking at each other. And you have to understand that at that point, Dhanna, he has not practiced any sadhana. What was he? Just a simple child, and his heart was pure and simple. And he had faith in the Guru who had given him Thakurji. But what he was showing was real spontaneous overflow of affection, and naturally Krishna reciprocated. He did not know the meaning of the word Bhagavan, Bhagavan Sattva Dampati or anything like that. He did not know anything that, and for him it was his Thakurji. That was all what he had. And that was a friendship, and that friendship grew every day between him and Thakurji. So every day he will offer, every day Krishna will accept, and there was this smiling going on between them. They were looking at each other, they were appreciating each other, chewing the bread, and he will play with Thakurji. He was his friend and intimate associate, and this went on. And then slowly, this intimacy grew, and the child also grew. And then he started going to do the cow herding with his father. And when he went for the pasture grounds, he will take Thakurji with him. And then, because he was growing, he was hearing from adults what is the meaning of Bhagavan. Bhagavan full of 6 opulences. And this Thakurji is Bhagavan. And he had heard about this, that the Lord, he is the creator and maintainer of the universe. So then this feeling of awe and reverence came into his heart, that this is God, this is the Supreme Lord I am carrying. And the more the feeling of awe and reverence came into his heart, the less he became intimate. A little bit of distance, So the less Krishna started appearing to him. And so slowly Krishna stopped appearing. Very, very sad situation. So that change in the bhava of his devotees created the change in the bhava of Krishna also. And so the point to understand is, if he had received the true knowledge, this would not have happened. Because what is the true knowledge? What is the creative aspect of the Lord? That is not truly who Krishna is. Remember the part where in Bhagavatam we study about the Purusha avatars, and that is that particular aspect of the Lord through which the material creation takes place, and there is no bhava required there. Whereas Krishna is like, he's, what is it? the rasa that he experiences with his devotees is more intimate. So in the creative aspect of the God, this rasa is not so much involved, and the rasika aspect of Krishna is not so much. But he is truly the enjoyer of rasa. That is who Krishna is. And so you will not realize that if you are in awe and reverence. And so that is what happened. So the knowledge he received was not correct. He just heard about it, that was all. So he thought something is missing here, so Krishna disappeared and all that. So now I need to do something. So he was suffering the separation, he was missing the smiling face of Krishna, and so he thought, now something is missing here, maybe I should cultivate the association of saintly people, and that is what is missing. So he was associating with saints, and still Krishna was not appearing. And so this went on and on for some time, and finally his heart was breaking, and he started crying, and he cannot eat, and he cannot sleep, and all that started coming back. And then one day suddenly Krishna appeared in his dream, and he said, "Oh Dhanna, see, I am not displeased with you. Please don't think that I am displeased with you. But you are lacking in something, because I am not as free to come to you as before. The kind of permanent relationship that you are seeking with me, it requires something. To establish that, you need a spiritual guide. And you need to get the right knowledge from your spiritual master. So you should go to Kashi, and you should take initiation from this person called Ramananda Acharya." So he went to Kashi, found the person, took initiation, came back, and started practicing, and then slowly Krishna came back. So he started becoming visible to Dhanna again. And so basically the knowledge, he received the right type of knowledge from the spiritual guide, and that's what happened. And he let go of that Aishwarya aspect. But then Thakurji was not very happy. Krishna became unhappy, because Krishna felt, now my devotee is not giving me an opportunity to serve him. Before it was mutual. They were like playing with each other. And so Krishna said, now he is worshipping me, he is very nicely doing, but I am not doing anything for him. So Krishna became unhappy. And so he started doing some service for his devotee in disguise, without his knowledge. So one example was that one time this Dhanna's father gave him some grains to sow in the field, and this Dhanna, he was about to go when some saintly people came visiting his house, and they said, "We are so hungry, we need something to eat." And he had nothing but these grains that his father had given. So he, without even thinking, he immediately processed those grains and fed the saintly people, and they were happy, and they went. And a couple of months later, he saw in the field all these crops were growing. And so he thought, maybe because I fed these saints, and I fed their mouth, and so they became so pleased with me. It is their blessings, this has come. So he was very happy. He did not know it was Krishna who did that. And then he felt, I need somebody to take care of this, the field. Watchman, watchman. He needed a watchman. So he was thinking, I wish I have a watchman. And then of course a watchman came. And the watchman came to him and said, look, I am this, what was his name? Just remember, trying to see. He said the watchman will come and say, I'm really very good at taking care of the fields, and I'll be very happy to do. And so Dhanna said, so what do I have to give you? He said, I can give you like 1/4 of the grains that I have after harvesting. And the watchman will say, that's too little. I need 1/3 of the grains. And so And then then Dhanna will say that is little too much. And then the watchman will say, I am a very good watchman. And that's not too much, because I have to be here without sleeping all night. And during daytime, I have to be awake to keep all the animals from eating this. This is not easy work, and so I need 1/3. And so finally Dhanna said, okay, I'll give you 1/3. So what else? And he said, well, I need you to give me food, lunch and dinner and all that. And Dhanna said, okay, I'll give you that. And I hope that's all what you need. He said, no, really, I need you to give me breakfast also. He said, I don't need too much. All you can just 2 bread and a little bit of butter. That's all I need. And that too, Dhannaji, because you are such a saintly person. I am with you only because I'm accepting your job only because of you are a saintly person. And I'm asking for this breakfast also because you will come and give it to me. I will have your darshan every day. And because I desire so much to see you, you are agreeing to come and feed me 3 times a day. That's why I'm staying here. Otherwise, I would have gone already. And so then I will ask him, so what is your name? And he will say, my name is Saunjiya. Saunjiya, that is my name. And okay, Saunjiya, I will do everything that you are asking. So every day he will come and feed him and go back. So one time again, the saintly people were visiting Dhanna's home, and so they were staying in the night, and so Dhanna had to get up early in the morning to cook for the saints. So he got up a little earlier, and so he had the breakfast ready earlier, so he thought, I'll go and give this to the Saunjiya, and so he went there looking, and he saw Saunjiya's watchman was sleeping under the quilt. And so he said, why, wake up, I have come a little early for you. And why don't you wake up? And he just removed the quilt and he saw Thakurji. Thakurji was sleeping. And so he said, 1 minute only, 1 second he saw Thakurji and he said, Thakurji, you are the watchman. And this suddenly the Thakurji changed into Saunjiya. And he said, no, I'm so sorry. I was waiting all late night. I was looking after this grain. Please forgive me, Dhannaji, and I will. I apologize. And then Dhannaji will tell him, no, you don't apologize. This is, what do you think? You are tricking me. You are tricking me, and you are not watchman. You are Thakurji, and so you better show yourself. And he said, I will not give you, I don't want you to work for me anymore. So immediately this Saunjiya will say, now that it is almost time to get the crops of the field, and you have to give me my share, and you are refusing to give me that. This is I'm going to invoke the village panchayat. I'm going to invoke the village panchayat and come after you if you refuse to give me. And so Dhanna will say, what village panchayat can I evoke? So that for you tricking me to do this job, and so you cannot please do this for me, and so you cannot continue doing this way. And so Thakurji will smile and say, okay, I will not do that. And so again the relationship was established. This is not a story, actually. This is not a story, and we are 5 minutes over. I'm sorry about that, but that is the law of reciprocation of bhakti. So this, what is this word that we learned? Sattva Dampati. So in this particular verse, Sattva Dampati, according to our acharyas, refers, the Sattvata is Suta Goswami, but Sattvadas are also, Sattva Dampati is also that aspect of Krishna by which he reciprocates to the feelings of his devotees. there is a mutual feeling of appreciation and reciprocation. Hare Krishna. And so that is the Bhakta Vatsala feature of Krishna that is particularly indicated. And the principles or the laws of bhakti, the law of reciprocation is very much there. And it is not something of the past or something which we have heard sometime. It has always been there, and it is always there even to this day. And all that is needed is the cleanliness of the heart and the qualities that, like the qualities that Sudha Goswami carried. You can see he was the recipient of Krishna's mercy because of the qualities that are listed here. So in this process of hearing and reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the person who is reciting Bhagavatam and the person who is hearing is equally benefited, and the benefit depends upon how much price we are willing to pay. Both are equally benefited. So the willingness on our part, how much we are willing to pay, that is how much we receive. And same is true for Krishna's reciprocation as well. Thank you all for your patience. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.